maybe you're familiar with Christian health share programs. Last year, let me back up for a second. Representative Jared Huffman, he's the only openly humanist member of Congress. He just proposed a bill. He's the sponsor of a new bill that would crack down on Christian health care sharing programs or ministries. And basically, what you need to know about these ministries is that there are groups called like Samaritan Ministries and Liberty Health Share, and they pretend to be insurance, but they're not. And what they do is, normal insurance companies like the one I have, you give them all your money every month. And then you get a list of like, listen, if you get hurt this way, or you want preventative care, you can go see, these 3 doctors and we'll cover the cost up to some amount. And then we'll take care of the rest of it. That's how insurance works in America because we suck with healthcare. But with these Christian ministries, these health share ministries, what they say is all of you who are part of the program, you have to pay a specific amount into the insurance pool. But the way a lot of them do it is they say, you don't give it to us. Don't give it to the headquarters. We're going to tell you who to send your money to. So like for a fee, like we might tell you to send your money to Bob from Nebraska because Bob told us he suffers from cancer and he needs chemotherapy or whatever. And so we want you to give X number of dollars to Bob this month. And that's kind of it. And if you need the money yourself, you make the request and the company has to approve it. And then they will send your name to others in the pool and you'll get the money. It's very convoluted. And that's not totally different from regular insurance, but it's not regulated. Not everything is covered. And the providers can cut you off at any time if you become too expensive to insure, which, by the way, regular insurance companies could do before Obamacare. And also, if you do anything that they think is immoral, you don't get any money at all. No, like they're not going to cover your contraception. They're not going to cover your same-sex partner. They're not going to cover your abortion. So everything is fine until the moment you really need them the most. And a lot of people don't realize this until it's too late. And there have been so many in-depth investigative articles written over the years about customers who were denied help precisely when they thought they were going to receive it. And the end result is that Christian insurance companies are a lot like Christian movies and Christian theme parks. Like they claim to be an alternative to the real thing, but they are actually so much worse. Just last year, I'll show you this. Christianity Today published an article talking about one of these Christian healthcare sharing ministries. They left 10,000 families with millions in unpaid bills because they went bankrupt, basically. So screw you, Christian families who trusted us. Like, too bad. By the way, those unpaid bills totaled over $50 million. And that was just one company. There are so many of these things. And so the reason I bring all this up, John Oliver, by the way, if you are on YouTube right now, last week tonight, I think a year or two ago, they did a whole full segment on healthcare sharing ministries that is so worth watching. So I'm not going to go into every detail about how bad they are, but they are really bad. But the reason I bring all this up is good news, which is that this week, Jared Huffman, the only humanist in Congress, he just introduced a bill to protect consumers from those health share ministries. And this is really exciting. This legislation that he is proposing, it is co-sponsored by Jamie Raskin of Maryland, Mark Pocan of Wisconsin, Sean Casten from Illinois, and Eleanor Holmes Norton from Washington, D.C. And basically what this legislation would do is try to rein in the worst practices of these, I don't know, they're not insurance companies, I guess Christian gambling organizations, right? And there's 3 aspects to this bill. First, it would require these companies to make sure customers know what they are buying. Basically, telling these companies you have to be honest. It would require healthcare sharing ministries to disclose how they are different from regulated health insurance products during the enrollment process. Like you have to tell them, we don't cover everything. You have to tell them, if we don't agree with your lifestyle, we can kick you off. You have to tell them all that stuff up front. So that's part 1. Part 2 is it gives regulators new data to assess the risk of these ministries. So healthcare sharing ministries would have to tell the government their rate of service denials, how many people are enrolled, what the service areas are, what are the out of pocket expenses, what complaints have you received by the Federal Trade Commission. Right now, all these healthcare sharing ministries don't have to tell anybody any of that stuff. So they're a very opaque company. It's like a giant black box. This bill would require them to disclose basic information to government regulators so at least they can make it public. And I don't think that's asking a lot. And the final thing is that it would require these ministries, brokers, to tell customers the whole truth up front. They have to tell them if they can get better, more comprehensive coverage anywhere else, like through the Affordable Care Act or Medicaid or Medicare. So that's the last thing. None of this bill would not stop these Christian ministries from existing. None of it would interfere with their faith. It doesn't tell them how to operate. This is about consumer protection, not religious oppression. You get the idea here? The irony in all this is that Huffman is a humanist and Jamie Raskin is a humanistic Jew. They are founders of the Congressional Free Thought Caucus, which means you have secular lawmakers who are proposing legislation to keep Christians honest because the Christians can't be trusted to do it themselves. And I find that very interesting. One of the things to point out about all this stuff that, I mean, there are just so many messed up aspects of all this. I'm trying to figure out which part I wanted to show you here. Sorry, can't find it right now. But one of the things they said in a statement, healthcare sharing ministries prey on citizens in search of care using overt appeals to religion as a veil to avoid criticism and regulation. Huffman said the threat posed by these unregulated, deceptive health shares demands federal action. And I think he's right about that. Now, the obvious question is this actually going to become a law? And the honest answer to that is not a chance. Why? Because Republicans run the House, a conservative, like Christian Republican is the Speaker of the House. This ain't even coming up for a vote. Not right now, not anytime soon. But, but the biggest effect of even putting this bill on the table is that it raises awareness about the problem, for one. I mean, I hope potential customers think twice before falling for one of these faith based scams. And if Democrats can ever retake control of the House, and if they can keep the Senate and Biden's reelected, like maybe this bill actually has a chance. Maybe it becomes a law. Maybe it actually protects more Americans because we cannot trust Christians to make that happen. It can't happen quickly enough given that the people running these ministries are not interested in the same goal. What I appreciate is that you have the American Humanist Association urging members to contact their representatives to support this bill. The FFRF, Freedom from Religion Foundation Action Fund, also praised it, calling it a crucial step towards ensuring that all Americans can access healthcare services without fear of discrimination or religious impositions. And I think this is an important bill. I know it's weird to get excited about a proposed draft legislation, but it's important and it's good. And I wish Republicans cared enough about their own base to want to protect them, but they don't. Not right now.